Hey guys, it's Sarah with House Copper. This video is actually going to be about doing a little bit more detail in how to do prep and for taking a wire. I actually had somebody ask me if there was books out there that got into the specifics about um, how you can prepare and do wiring. So I have the machines to do it. I have a turning machine. I have the copper smithing stakes. So I am going to use the correct tools, but you can always substitute with a wiring stake or with PVC pipe or whatever you want to do. But this is going to be a very in-depth with some of the little tricks of the trade that I do in preparing a piece to take a wire. So obviously before anything else, you're gonna have your body, whatever shape that is, whether that's a straight cone or whether that is a cylinder. I have cylinders today. I've already done the crimp seam along the one side. So that part's done, you know, the cutting and prepping for that. So I'm immediately going to start this video by heading over to the turning machine and showing you how and you know, all like the little nitpicky things that go into getting a piece ready to take a wire. We won't even do the wiring. It's literally just prepping for a wire bit by bit by bit. So that's it. So it's not gonna be a super long video, but it is going to be a little bit more detailed, and I'm gonna like point out all the little nitpicky things. So here we go. Okay, here, this is the turning machine, okay? Here is my body. I have the crimp seam already put along the side here, and I have done the math. Everybody's gonna do a little different math, but I've done the math so I know how much room I need from the end of my seam to the lip here so that I can turn enough material to go around the size of the wire I'm going to use. So if you have a smaller wire, you're going to have a shorter amount of material available up here. If you have a bigger wire, you know, the bigger this piece here is going to be. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna adjust the backstop to your machine to accommodate this wire, your math, and really it should, from what I believe, I remember, and I never can remember, and I know people have said it before, but it's like, if you have a 1/8 inch wire, you're going, diameter wire, you're going to accommodate 3/8 inch up here, for instance. So it's like a 3-to-1, 2-to-1. This backstop is going to go almost up to where your seam ends. You sometimes can take a metal piece and you can, along the very edge, about 1/16 to 1/8, you can smash this part of the seam down even more to help with this part of the process. You will align, let's see here. You will press this all the way to the backstop, and you will align the top wheel keep this piece of the metal completely always against the backstop. That you don't want to push, but you want to stay stable and horizontal at all times, at least in the beginning. And you're gonna get this so it's nice and snug up here. You know, I'm gonna, you know, getting this to focus. So you get that nice and snug. The best way to remember what you're doing with this is like start at either, you know, depending on how your machine is wound up, start at, you know, noon, 3, 6, or 9 o'clock, and keep track of your turns. So if you're doing multiple pieces, you know that you started at noon and you're gonna go all the way to 9, or you're gonna go all the way back to 12. Hold this, don't let it sag. Don't let this become an angle. You have to keep this, especially in the beginning, horizontal and completely. This is what you're gonna watch. You're gonna watch your backstop, and you're gonna watch right here. This has to constantly be touching your backstop as you rotate. So now I'm gonna go, and as you can see, this is constantly touching the backstop, and I am maintaining an absolute horizontal interface like that. You're gonna go around. When you get to where you started, go up here and crank a quarter turn. What you're trying to do is create not only the turn, but this, you want it to feel like a nice thick bead on the inside. That's going to cradle your wire when you move to that part of the process. So it may look like you have a decent turn, but on the inside, if it feels still pretty shallow, you keep cranking and stay both engaged against the backstop, and still we are horizontal. Now I am very lightly holding on. I am not pushing. I am just the holder here. There is no pressure of the metal against the backstop. What will happen if you push while you turn is you will actually turn too much material up here, and when you turn the wire, you're gonna have leftover material that will get chopped off and be yucky when you use the wiring machine. That's a technical term, like yucky? Kidding. It'll be yucky. I'm gonna crank it one more time to 9 o'clock. We're almost to a decent bead on the inside. What you never wanna do is go over the seam. With this, you will jam your gears and you will break them with pressure. Okay, I have now gone around as much as I need. And we're gonna go to the machine. I'm gonna show you, here's that beautiful thick bead on the inside to hold my wire. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this stake. You can use any stakes as long as they are flat and they are solid. I use a rawhide hammer to avoid scratching. You don't need anything heavier or stronger than that. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to place the bead I've created onto the edge of the stake so that the edge of the stake supports the bead and I don't crush the bead I just made. And when I do that, I'm going to slowly flatten out the top part of the lip because I want that to be at a 90-degree angle to the body. I'll show you from a distance and then I'll get close up. Also, don't worry that this is not round. It will get fixed during the wiring process. Right now, I'm just trying to get this. I don't know if you can see it. So see how this, here's the bead, and this is still upwards. Here's the flat, but I have preserved the bead by cradling the bead itself into the edge. And I start kind of going with it, and I bring the body down. And I'll go over here, maybe you can see it better. Boy, this one's really not strong. Shoot me now. All right, cut them apart. you see how I start up and then I rotate down as I hammer in order to create this flat table as opposed to it standing up? Okay, so now that it is totally flat, and like I said, remember I want this like even, or I'm sorry, at a 90-degree angle to the body, but my bead is still there. Now, just in case I've crushed it, I'm gonna run it through the wiring machine one more time. Okay, so now I have a very different interface that I'm going to put against the backstop. So you kind of have to scooch that under and adjust your backstop so that when you put the wheel down, it cradles. This is so hard to do. It's gonna cradle the bead, and this is up against your backstop, your new 90-degree angle. You're gonna go all the way down because you're just ensuring that you don't need to go tight, though I should go a little tighter. You're ensuring that you still have like a U-shaped or C-shaped bead and not a V. In this case, V is not for victory. Very carefully take that out. And now one last little thing we're gonna do is we're going to clip off these little wings here for the, just to kind of have a nice finish when we wire it. So that's it. There is the extreme detail in prepping for a wire using the wiring machine, putting through a piece of cookware essentially, and you're good to go, and then the whole wiring process begins. But now it'll be a lot easier for you to bring that wire down. First, I always do it by hand. Once you get it pretty close, you can run it through the wiring machine and it will tuck the rest of the material around your wire, and you will be done with that whole part of the process and you can move on to the next one. So anyway, there you go. The nitty-gritty details and how to turn and prep for a wire. If you have any thoughts or questions, or part of the process wasn't clear, or you want more details on it, please let me know. If you want to find me on Instagram or Facebook under House Copper, pick up copper, iron, and clay, head over to housecopper.com. I am gonna eventually get a new website up and running, and we'll hopefully just keep chatting from there. I love to always hear from all of you, so and learn ideas and things like that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.